The Rebel Capitalist Show. You'd be a perfect person to kind of get the lowdown on what really happens with rent control. And we've heard, economists like Thomas Sowell and Milton Friedman say, this looks good at surface level, but at the end, it really hurts the people that you're trying to help. So if we come to one of your properties, let's say tomorrow, and say, okay, Kenny, we're doing rent control. You're at $1,500 right now. For the next 10 years, you can't raise rents. What are, as the owner of that property, assuming you can't sell it, what are you going to do or not do as a result of that rent cap?
Well, what happens is you can't fix all the other costs.
There you go. Yeah.
So, utilities have gone up. Payroll, we all just talked about that, has gone up. Property taxes are going up, have gone up. Insurance has gone up. It's like so people that are getting hit with these inflationary issues, that service all these properties, their stuff's gone up. The appliances have gone up. So if you fix one thing, then it hurts because all of a sudden, eventually that could drive the whole project into the ground from a
maintenance standpoint. Because that's the only thing that can give is
That's
because
right.
if you can't increase your prices along with the prices that you're having to pay. So if you can't, if you can't increase your rent while your input costs are increasing, the only release valve there is the maintenance.
Correct.
So the property just continues to deteriorate and deteriorate and deteriorate.
Right. Trust me, at that point, it has nothing to do with the landlord taking profits.
Mm-hmm.
It has only to do with the landlord trying to keep the property.
Yeah, and then okay, so we thought through it from a standpoint of existing supply, but what happens to future supply if rent controls are in place?
So that's happening already. So what's happening is, I'm in the space. I'm talking to lenders all the time. We closed on a deal 2 days ago, another $58 million deal, and so I'm talking to these debt and equity markets all the time.
Right.
And I won't name the name, but one very big company out of San Francisco said, we're not even looking at the coasts. So he's like, we're not even, basically was saying Washington, Oregon, and California.
Right,
we're not even going there. This is a very big company, like one of the biggest in the world. And he specifically called out St. Paul, Minnesota. He said they did a rent cap. And he's like, so money goes where it's treated best.
Right.
So they're not funding New York. They're going to North Carolina. They're going to Florida. They're going to Texas. They're going to Arizona. So, and because they're why would I fund somebody in a market where they're capping their income?
And they're going to have a tougher time paying back the loan.
Correct. So the financial markets have already figured this out, and they're way ahead of everybody.
Right.
They're like, because again, they want their money back, and so if the state or city or county is capping the income, and they're jacking the
property taxes and all your input costs
and all the other stuff, and of course
interest rates are going up.
Yeah, they're like, they're being super selective on where to go, and what's also happening is the loan to value is going down. The debt coverages that they look at are getting harder and harder and harder, and they're also creating reserves now. So they're saying, we think interest rates might go up, so we want you to put up an interest rate reserve as part of your deal. And they also want us to put a renovation reserve as part of our deal. The lenders are getting involved in, hedging.
Or forcing you to hedge.
Well, yeah, it's our money, right? or less of proceeds, I guess. But they're saying we need you to stick your money into these buckets because we're not sure where interest rates are going to go. We're not sure where your renovation costs are going to go, and it's prudent thinking, because not thinking that way is what kind of hurt the markets back in 08, 9, 10. So it's good thinking, and they're putting back on the borrow, which is exactly what should happen. But it's going to affect future investment for sure.
It means lower supply.
Yeah.
So if you think we've got low supply right now, there's going to be
Just
probably
wait.
less of it
Yeah.
coming online. The more uncertainty we have, and the more the central planners try to plan, that we have more and more uncertainty, which means less investment, and then less supply, and that means prices go up.
Yeah.
Which again, it goes right back to these good intentions. What is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and I think
that's
a
what
lot of
rent
it is-
control is.
It is. I'll tell you, one of the really cool indicators that your listeners can follow is the home ownership versus rental ownership. So under the Bush administration, because he was like, everyone needs to rent a house or buy a house, it started to go up. And he's like, we got all the way up to like 68, 69% home ownership in the United States. And then, the next administration, Obama, I think he kind of took it. He wasn't really his doing, but that's when it started to unravel.
Mm-hmm.
And so as that starts ticking down from 68, 67, 66, 65, every 1% is like 1 million people moving from home ownership to rentals. This is really important.
Right.
So you're basically taking the people that would be homeowners, moving them over to rentals, creating a lot of demand over here. At the same time, with the lower home ownership, we've seen these prices go up. So that's another thing. So I believe for the first time in our nation's history, we're actually going to get into the 50s of home ownership versus rentals. And I think we're heading toward a renter nation, very much like, you travel the world. You see in Italy, you see in Europe, you see in Australia, where home prices, like there are people that will never actually be able to buy a home.
And you get more people per square foot.
Correct. Yeah, so I think that's where we're heading based on all the factors that I see before us.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.